This episode is brought to you by the Boneyard Huskies Club. The Boneyard Huskies Club empowers UConn student athletes while providing UConn fans with access to exclusive community, utility, and rewards. Purchase of collectibles featuring your favorite student athletes directly supports the athletes since they receive a majority of the revenue. For more information, go to boneyardhuskiesclub.com. That's Huskies with a YZ at the end. All right, we are back with another episode, and joining us today is UConn softball coach Laura Valentino. So, Coach, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me back.
So, I know when we talked last year, it was right around the same time, just getting close to Big East tournament time. So, I know an exciting time of year. But I want to start with this one for you. Fourth year now as head coach here. You've been making progress each and every year. How are things feeling from your side in terms of leading this program and getting it in a place where you'd like to see it?
Well, I appreciate that, Jared. You know, when you take over a program, you have goals and aspirations and expectations of yourself and where you see the program headed. And my goal for myself and for this program was to put the program on the map and win a conference championship in the first 5 years. And that's, we're kind of on par for that. I am proud of that, but I'm also somebody that never settles. So continuing to push the envelope and drive the program forward in a way that is a really high standard, right? And those are things that we communicate to our recruits in the process and to this current team. And we wouldn't be where we are today without the staff that I have and the players buying into what we're all about.
Right now, as we talk, your team's 32-13, 19-5 in the conference. What's impressed you the most about your team to this point so far?
Yeah. What I love about this team is, and really sets them apart, is their coachability. And, I consistently get the question or the comment about how we're so young. And, I don't use it as an excuse. I use it as a reason as to why we've been successful this year. This group has the attitude to come to practice every day and get better every day. And that's a huge credit to them. They want to continue to grow even at this point in the season. And that's contributing to our success thus far. And, they're a really, really talented group, but I would say the intangibles and where the culture is what has contributed to the success of the program this year.
When you talk about some of those younger players, for those who might just be starting to tune in come tournament time, give some names of some players that people should be keeping their eyes out for as they're watching your team compete.
Sure. So, I mean, that's a tough one to answer because I could probably list a lot of them. But, I think that Lexi Hastings, a sophomore outfielder, she's in our leadoff spot. It has really stepped up this year. I mean, had a great freshman season, but has really stepped into a leadership role and setting the tone for the offense at the top of the lineup. And then you have the twin pitcher catcher, Grace Jenkins, Hope Jenkins, freshmen from California, have really contributed to the standard of the program and have had a really awesome freshman year. And you have Savannah Ring starting at second base, also a freshman gritty kid from North Jersey, and even Haley Kupal and Caitlin Kibling are, they're role players for us this year, but also freshmen that have been a contributing part of our success.
I know you mentioned how young this team is. How exciting is that for you, knowing that this team is already exhibiting this level of success and you're going to have more time with these players to continue to build and grow?
Sure. Yes, there's something to be said for experience as younger players, and they're getting it, right? They knew in the recruiting process that I called them an impact class. I mean, they were going to be a turning point for this program, not only from a success standpoint, but from a culture standpoint. And they've really lived up to that this year so far. And, it's really been exciting to see them come in and do what they're going to do. And that's only going to help the program in the future is when you get championship experience as a freshman and a sophomore, that not only helps you in your future years of your career, but also your ability to influence the younger players that come in the future.
So as we head towards Big East tournament time, give me your thoughts on the conference as a whole this year, because it seems like, especially those top four teams, everyone's pretty close. But overall, it seems like anyone in this conference can beat anyone on any given day.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that's kind of the MO of the Big East. It depends on kind of who shows up, right? But I think that, it's a credit to the conference. It's something that we like to see. We want to see this conference continue to drive forward and go for, two people potentially going to NCAAs. Bridget and I from Villanova talk about this quite oftenly about how we want this to be a two bid conference. And, as long as people continue to get better around us, that's great for the conference. But, the usual Big East, I would say offense is the name of the game. I mean, people have pretty strong offenses and, we're moving into the tournament. We're really focused on us and what we do well, because when we play great defense and we pitch tough in clutch situations and we have clutch hitting and run the bases like we do, I truly believe we're the best team in the conference, and excited to see them compete for that this week.
How exciting is it that you're going to get to host this Big East tournament in Stars this year?
It's great. The thing that really comes to mind is, you know, being here for 4 years now, we've really cultivated a sense of community around the sport of softball in Connecticut. Not only from, young girls and families coming to watch us play, but also the alumni community has really grown tremendously for us in our program. And it really is a neat family to be a part of. It's really special. And I anticipate there being a lot of people in the stands supporting our program this upcoming week. And it's an overwhelming feeling of pride for myself and the program and what we're building here. And it means a lot. It means a lot to myself and the players that are in the jerseys right now. They're playing for the people that came before us, and for them to be able to watch us play in Stores is a really awesome. It's really grateful and an awesome feeling for us.
With your team in the past couple of years having been in this Big East championship game, how do you use that, as motivation and, getting the team extra prepared to, take it all home?
Sure. I think it's a little bit of both, right? This year is different than the past two. And also, telling them that just because last year happened, and the year before we were in the championship game doesn't mean it's going to look like that this year. It's been pretty neat for, we have probably 5 people in our starting lineup that experienced, 2 years ago, we won the first game, won the second game, and then got beat twice on Sunday or on Saturday. And then last year we lost the first game and battled our way back to get into the championship game, and obviously fell short. So have had 2 different experiences that have given our upperclassmen that have played in those games experience in terms of the mindset and the attitude of what it's going to take to be different this year. And I know that's driving them and fueling them forward. And they're going to help a lot of our freshmen who are experiencing it for the first time. So, it's the catch of use the experience to help us this year, but also focus on what this team does well and what we've done up until this point.
I know I'm sure you're always coaching, but at this point in the season, are you working to improve, tweak things as you head towards tournament play, or are you in a spot where, you kind of are what you are at this point in the season?
Yeah. Well, Jared, I know that you know my coaching style a little bit, and it's funny you asked this because I was just planning practice, this morning for the upcoming few days, and, talking with my staff. The focus today is on growth. And, obviously we are at the back end of our season, but I truly feel that you haven't seen the best version of UConn softball yet, which is exciting as a coach. You want to be peaking at the end of the season. And, there's always opportunity every day at practice for you to learn something about yourself or learn something about your teammates. And that's the attitude going into today. We're coming off of three days of finals. We're getting back on the field, playing the game we love. So keeping the mindset of how can we grow as individuals, but also as a team moving into the conference tournament.
I'll wrap with this one. What's it like being a part of this UConn athletic program right now? Because obviously baseball is performing at a high level, men's basketball coming off the championship, women's basketball off a successful season, football off a good season, field hockey off a good season. And now you're contributing to that overall, success that the athletic department has seen. So how does it feel to just be a part of UConn athletics right now?
It's really exciting. I mean, what a place to be. What a privilege to put on a UConn top every day and to walk into work to this special place. And honestly, it's a huge reason as to why I'm here. Looking at the success, not only amongst the department, but across women's athletics is you're surrounded by not only mentors, but some of the best coaches in the country in all of sport. Right. And, being down the hall from Jim Penders, I just walked in to work with him today and, going to breakfast with Gino and talking to Paul Caddy about, how it's been taking over for Nancy Stevens, who was a part of my interview process when I got hired here. And the list goes on just about how many amazing coaches are in this department, and I get to learn from them every day. And there's just a feeling of competitive excellence consistently in everything that we do. We're all trying to be great, and that's not everywhere. So it's really I would argue one of the best places to be in the country.
All right, I lied. I can't not follow up after what you said, because not many people get this opportunity. But what is breakfast with Gino like?
He's everything that you see candidly on TV. That's what I love about him. He's very authentic and honest. And what I really appreciate about Gino is he's constantly influencing the people around him. He obviously has a huge impact on his program and where he's brought them to from a success standpoint. But the fact that he sacrifices time to impact a young head coach like myself is something that I'll never take for granted. And I'm really appreciative of the time that he spends to help grow me in my early part of my career. And it's interesting to hear stories about him and his program when he was, starting things out. And, I try to, relate to some of those things, but also learn from what he's experiencing right now. And it's funny to say we're going through very similar things in our program. Obviously, we're at a different stage in terms of growth, but we're dealing with similar issues with our student athletes. And it's neat to talk to one of the best in the game about what he's doing to combat some of those things. And I get to learn from him. It's pretty awesome.
That does sound like a lot of fun. Well, Coach, I really appreciate the time. I know it's a busy time for you and the team, so thank you so much. Best of luck in the Big East tournament coming up, and we'll hopefully be talking soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jared, and go Huskies.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth-generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan-owned business. And now, back to the interview. The Big East softball tournament is right around the corner, so who better to have on than Lexi Hastings? So, Lexi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so let's start with this. Let's start by looking back a little bit. I know you're a sophomore now, but take me through what got you interested in UConn and how'd you end up here?
The recruiting process was a little different for me just because it was during COVID and things like that. But a big part of that journey for me was just staying connected to my faith and really just walking wherever God led me. And there was a moment where I was feeling a bit rushed in the recruiting process. I hadn't really found a place that I wanted to call home, but I was at a tournament and I was about to commit to another school, and I was just in some deep prayer, and some doors opened up for me, and I got in contact with the coaches here at UConn, and I fell in love with the culture and what they were trying to build here. So and the academics had everything that I was looking for. So
there you go.
Ended up being the perfect fit.
Yeah, so looking at things now, your sophomore year played a lot, your freshman year. How have things changed for you in your game, and how do you feel like you've improved and taken your game to the next level, freshman to sophomore year?
Yeah, I would say there's a few things. For starters, my mom was a big part in that kind of transition from freshman year to sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point during preseason this year where I was starting to feel a bit of pressure, just kind of transitioning from freshman year to sophomore year, because I did feel like I had a pretty good freshman year, and I just wanted to kind of fill those shoes for my team and be where I needed to be. And I did have a bit of a hard time transitioning to college and struggle with some mental health things. So my mom was really that person in my corner saying, like, Lexi, you were able to do all that you did at one of the lowest points in your life. Like, imagine what you can do if you just started having fun with the game again. So really that was kind of like the light bulb switch for me. And then secondly, I was in this point where I just needed to be reminded of my why, because oftentimes, like, when you're struggling, you're very narrow, like, visioned, and it's hard to kind of be connected to that. So I was in some prayer, and I actually got the opportunity to play in my hometown during preseason in Lynchburg, Virginia. We played a tournament and we played Liberty, and having like 40 plus people, friends, families, coaches, track coaches, teachers, principals there. It was really a moment for me that I just kind of got connected to what I was competing for something bigger than myself. And that was like a really big moment for me.
I think you mentioned something there that's really interesting, and I don't think it necessarily gets talked about enough, especially with college athletes, is going through some of those mental health issues and dealing with that, especially transitioning to college, having that pressure, being in a new environment. How did you start to overcome it and, get yourself to a better place where you were able to have fun again playing out there?
It came with a lot of tough conversations. My mom is definitely that person for me that tells it how it is. And she was the one that kind of made me realize that, hey, maybe I'm struggling a little bit and maybe it's time to start opening up and talking to people. And my coaches were a big help in that process as well. And I ended up getting connected with the sports psychologist here on campus and just utilizing my resources. And I just started reaching out a little bit more to the community that got me here in the first place. So I was talking to friends, I was talking to coaches, my family, really just relying on the connections with my teammates to kind of get me going.
So let's talk a little bit of softball here. I mean, team has had a fantastic regular season, 33-13, 19-5, taking home the Big East title there. What's impressed you the most about this team this year?
I would say the thing that impressed me the most is probably how fast our connection and team camaraderie just kind of meshed together from the start of the freshmen getting here in the summer prior to the fall, and just how fast and easy it was to connect with everyone. And it was so nice to see everyone just fully being bought in to what we're trying to do here. So.
Yeah, as you look as the season has gone on, what's it been like for you? Because I've noticed you've taken home quite a number of Big East honor rolls. You've been getting quite the number of accolades this year. So what's it been like for you personally to see yourself be able to take home and get some of that recognition?
I would say it obviously makes me happy to see that my hard work has paid off, and but really just the gratitude that I have towards my coaches just continuing to trust in me, and especially coming off maybe not my strongest preseason and just trusting me to work through that, and the extra hours they've put in to help me. So
as you've gone through this season, take me through the Big East. I know is a tough conference, especially when you look at that top half of the Big East. You guys are all pretty tight in the standings. So how's it been going through a pretty gauntlet softball schedule in a tough group there?
I would say it definitely just pushes us to be better than the best. And I think we're a team that goes after competition, and we like to compete. So I think having a bit of a challenge in the Big East is really good for us.
Looking at that last game of the season before you head into the Big East tournament, you all have the combined no-hitter there. What was it like being a part of something like that, and kind of a nice way to top off the regular season there?
Yeah, I think it was really good to just be able to have some good momentum going into the Big East tournament, and seeing our pitchers just have each other's back no matter who's on the mound, and really be able to step in and do the job and get the job done wherever that is throughout the game, relief or starting.
As you look towards the Big East tournament here, how excited are you that you all get to host this tournament up in Stores and everyone's coming to play at your place this year?
It feels so good to be home. There is so much relief, not a lot of stress and having to travel, and it's nice to be in our own locker room and be in a place that we're very familiar with and comfortable with. So no place like home.
I know you guys had to battle last year in the Big East tournament, losing that first game and then really having to win out there. So how do you think that prepared you all to take on the challenge of the Big East tournament this coming week?
I think it just put us all in the mindset to come out on the attack. As we've seen throughout the season, that everyone's going to bring their best. So I think we're just really in the mindset of, we don't care who's in front of us. It doesn't matter who we play, but at the end of the day, we just have to take it one game at a time, focus on what's in front of us, and ultimately just win each day.
How exciting is it getting into tournament play? Because I feel like this is the time of year where it's win or go home, and I know that doesn't quite make as much sense when you guys are home, but it's winter season kind of comes to an end there. So how excited are you to get to play in that kind of high pressure exciting type of games there?
I think there's mixed emotions. Obviously, you have a few nerves, but overall, the team is just so excited. I think we're really thrilled to just be able to showcase all that we've been working on since the fall, since we've gotten on campus. And it is so different, but I think having a core group of people who have been to the Big East tournament, to see what it felt like last year, to come up a bit short, like the freshmen are bought in, and we are so excited to get this thing rolling.
How exciting would it be to be a part of the team that brings UConn back to the NCAA tournament? Should you guys be able to win this week?
I think it's a super special feeling. We have great support from our alum. They're constantly in our corner, and we're just constantly being reminded that we're doing this for them, and they set the stage for UConn, and we want to get them back to where we were as a firehouse. And it's a very surreal feeling to just have the rally of support that we do from so many that laid the foundations before us.
All right, we've got some fun ones here to throw your way here. What's been your favorite road trip of the season? I love asking players this question.
Personally, I would say Chicago.
Okay.
So our series, our series against DePaul, I think Chicago is probably one of my favorite cities. But we got to watch an MLB game, and that was personally my first game that I went to, and
Oh, wow.
I think we rallied maybe like 5 balls that game.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Yeah, we were right behind center field, and it was just so much fun. It was great team bonding, beautiful city, good weather. We got hit with a little bit of rain, but overall good weather. So
How was the first MLB game for you?
so fun, so fun. Even better that I got a ball. So
Yeah, there you. Hey, I mean, I've been to a bunch of baseball games and I've never gotten a ball. So you're already like one ahead of me, and you've only been to one game. So so nicely done. As you as you kind of look back on the regular season, I always like to ask who's been the toughest opponent in your perspective that you've had to go up against this year.
I would say each series this year has had its own moments. The Butler series, for example, we're fighting to stay at the top. The Villanova series was one where we wanted to really set the tone on the team that we were going to be this year. And
yeah,
a lot of emotions that game, but it was really nice to see us kind of capitalize on the idea of just staying together. I would say each series we've gone into has definitely had its own, but I would say the DePaul series, in my opinion, for us, just because we were working through some things and we kind of got hit with a few surprises. So being able to just stay within ourselves, and we learned a lot. So that's why I would say it's our toughest.
Yeah. As we look towards, talking about this team here, I've had Coach Valentino on the podcast a couple times. I'd be ready to play for her. What's it like getting to play from her, learn from her, and just be a part of a team that she's leading?
It's one of the best feelings to have a coach that truly cares about you on and off the field. And that was one of the main reasons I chose to grow my game here and learn from the best. And she cares so genuinely about each and every one of her players. And every time I come up to the office to talk to her, I feel like I just leave with so much more knowledge just about me as a person, as a player. And it just makes you want to give your all to her and the program and the things that she's saying and the culture she's trying to build.
First time on the podcast, so we got to ask this to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us, I know finals just came to an end. How'd the semester go? What are you majoring in? Favorite class, that type of stuff.
So I was coming up to the office today, and Coach V gave me a big hug and said, "Congratulations." I'm like, I haven't even checked my grades, but thank you. So that must mean good things. So
there you go.
Overall, happy with how I finished. I'm planning on majoring in sport management.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to get started with that next year. I would say my favorite class was my women gender studies class, because it was one of my few in-person ones, and it was discussion based, and I met some really cool people through there and got to do some cool projects. So
very nice. And I'll wrap with this one here. It's a great time to be involved with UConn athletics. Saw what the men's basketball team did. Women's basketball had a good year. Football had a good year. Field hockey had a good year. I mean, baseball's having a great year. You guys are having a great year. So what's it like to be part of a group at UConn right now that's just really exceeding, both on and off the field?
I think we're just trying to ride the wave and put UConn back on the map as one of the top schools in the Northeast. And I think it's really cool to have the community of just the staff and other teams and athletes and coaches all supporting each other. And it's really exciting times.
It is. Well, Lexi, I really appreciate you taking some time during a busy time of the year for you to come on the podcast. Best of luck this week in the tournament, and I hope everyone can make it up to Stores to check out a game. It's gonna hopefully be a fun week for you all.
Thank you so much.